Okay, let me help you. Let me save you from making this huge mistake when you relocate to Northern Virginia. Are you ready for it? It's not going to be what you think it is. It's not going to be buying in the wrong place. It's not going to be using an agent that doesn't specialize in relocation. And it's not looking at houses over your budget. It's even bigger than any of those. And when we talk about those three, I think they're very serious and I've got to help you try to avoid them. All right, here's the biggest mistake that I see families make when they're relocating to Northern Virginia from out of state or overseas, and that is renting. When you are moving to Northern Virginia and you are like, I know what I'll do. We'll rent for a year and then we'll find a house to buy the following year or maybe 2 years later. Well, here is why that is a huge mistake, and I want to help you avoid it. Number one, and this is the big one, is it really pigeonholes you into a school district. When you are relocating with kids and you find your rental, Northern Virginia, our communities are really tight, really close knit. And kids, although I believe they can transition well and they're more durable than adults when making a transition, when it comes to changing schools, it can be really challenging for kids. So what I see happen is a family reaches out, we talk about their relocation, but they're set on, we want to understand what the Northern Virginia life is like, what Vienna is like, and Oakton and Great Falls and Reston, and how they're different, and finding the right county for them to land. And so they're like, I'm going to rent for a year and then we'll buy. Well, their kids make friends. Your kids make friends. They get used to that community. They get used to the neighborhood. They get used to what their life is like, where they're living, that it becomes so hard to move and buy a year later. Because once your kids are comfortable and that's going to make your life easier, you're going to be like, Casi, let's set up our search parameters just in this school district. Well, guess what? That makes your search so much smaller. And there should be many pieces that go into that setup as well. So imagine you're like, oh, we can rent here, but you can't afford to buy there the next year. That sets you up for failure. And I want to help you avoid that. So if you are relocating to Northern Virginia and you think renting is going to be easier for your family, reach out, because that just is not the case. You can make it even harder, not just because of the schools, but also one of the things that I find people think, oh, we'll rent for a year and then we'll see what we can afford. Well, the reality is in Northern Virginia, our appreciation climbs quickly every single year. Yes, are there times that the market kind of stays still? 100%. But we are normally seeing double-digit appreciations here in Northern Virginia because so many people relocate, because so many families move in and they move out. And so our prices do tend to rise pretty quickly compared to the rest of the country. And what you are looking at and what you can afford for your budget right now is going to look different than your budget next year. A lot of people think, oh, well, we can't afford this, or we'll get one more year to be there and get comfortable. But then that same house that you're looking at this year is going to cost more next year. And so again, it can be a lot harder to find the house that you want in the budget that you want within a year in the school district that you want. So I'm telling you all this because I know many people feel it's super important to rent or to get to know an area before you buy. And I'm here to tell you, when you partner with the right real estate team, the right real estate person, they can actually help you get to know the community and the neighborhoods and the locations even better before you move here, before you're ready to write an offer. One of the things that we do for all of our relocating clients is we encourage them to reach out early. And I love when people reach out early, because even now people will reach out in January who aren't moving until the summer. And why I say that is because step one, we're going to get pre-approval from a local lender. We're going to take that number and put it into your search parameters. So Currently, I use Zenless. You can also use Bright MLS, which is our search feature for all agents, to set up a search to see what in the world can we afford? What does this get us in the area we want to be for the price that we want to spend? I took someone out last weekend and we went and we looked at their budget and they hated it all. They hated it all. And listen, that happens. That's the reason, again, we start early, because if you see what you can afford now, what they're doing is going back to their financial advisor and saying, hey, can we actually increase our budget? Can we increase our down payment so we can afford a little bit more so we can live in the areas we want to live to create the lifestyle we want to have? And all of this is a snowball effect when you're relocating, because if you wait until the last minute, all you feel is pressure. You're going to feel pressure that you have to buy a house right away, or you are committed to renting for a year because you just don't have the time to get the address, to send your stuff, to prepare the move. There's so many moving parts when you are relocating to the area that I think of them every single day. I think of them for all of my families. I think of them in advance for their kids, for their lifestyle. And if you reach out early, we can help you avoid that mistake of pigeonholing yourself into one school district or one zip code for your family when you go to buy next year. And then again, buying a house that you saw this year that costs more next year. So these are just a couple little small tips to help you avoid that one big mistake when moving to Northern Virginia. If you are relocating to Northern Virginia and you need a little bit of help and guidance, send me a message, comment below. My cell phone number is 513-284-5396. And you can email me, Casi@thecareycollective.com. Find me on Instagram at Casi Carey. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, all the places, trying to help families like yours relocate to Northern Virginia with ease. And I can't do that unless you reach out. Plus, one teeny tiny thing. Do you want to know how I know all this? We didn't rent. However, we did buy. We bought in a school district. My kids fell in love with that school district. And then when we had a surprise baby and we needed more space, guess how my search parameters were set up? Only in that school district. It's not easy. We had to move quick when houses came up that we were interested, and maybe we paid a little more than we wanted to pay, but because the school zones and our kids' happiness was the front of mind for us. It was super, super important. And so it just wasn't something we were willing to move on. And we looked in other areas. We were like, we can afford more outside of Vienna, meaning more house, more land, more whatever. And it was a deal breaker for us. So we had to search in our high school pyramid, in our middle school pyramid, and it just wasn't easy. So I'm sharing this mistake that we made, not renting, but buying. And that might happen to you too. When you're ready to move up, you might find those same restrictions, but it's a lot harder to go from renting in an area to buying in an area when you're just not prepared. So make sure you reach out, send me a message. We would love to help you relocate to Northern Virginia and help you avoid any mistakes when buying from out of state and out of country.